welcome to my YouTube video. If you have not been here before, my name is Kristen, and I post a lot of knitting and crocheting and other miscellaneous kind of similar vibed crafts and stuff here on my YouTube. So today I have episode 2 of a little series I'm making as I become a sock knitter, and I have tried to become a sock knitter in the past once or twice, but it has not been successful. So this is me trying to figure it out, and I figured I would share that with you guys. Unfortunately, this second episode is a very different episode than I expected it to be. So my plan was, I introduced this book that I bought in my last video, and this is by Charlotte Stone. I follow her on Instagram, and she is wonderful. She has really cute little whimsical colorwork sock designs, and I was really excited about this book. I'm still very excited about the book. And then in this episode, I was like, all right, great, I'll figure out color work because I've never knitted with color work before, and I will share how that went and what I learned and how it's going with color work. Unfortunately, my socks did not go as expected. So this video is what I did wrong with my color work and how I am adjusting that to still have a successful project that I think I will use and be happy with, because if I did not think that I would still enjoy the project, then I would have to frog it and take it all out. But I do think I can save it, and I am still excited about it, but it is not what I expected. So I'm going to share with you what I did wrong and what I'm doing to fix it. So first, if you did not watch my last video, this is the book that I am using. It has 25 different sock patterns, and I was doing one for myself. I really like to gift knit things, but I wanted to make myself a pair of socks, and I was making these. They have ice cream cones, and I love ice cream. I was very excited about them. And my fear with making socks is always sizing, because honestly, even with like sweaters and stuff, I'm not really great at sizing with my knitting. I feel like a lot of times things don't come out the right size that I wanted them to, or they fit a little awkwardly. Just something about the sizing doesn't always come out right. And sometimes I feel like it's really hard to tell when your sizing is not coming out right. And the problem with socks is that, I mean, one, if socks are not the right size, they're kind of weird because you want them to be cozy, and if they're too tight or too loose, they're not going to be as cozy. And two, you have to make two socks. So if you have two that aren't exactly the same size, it's kind of weird. So that was my fear with socks, and that's the problem I've run into in the past, that they just never fit the way that I wanted them to, which is kind of frustrating and is unfortunately the problem that I ran into this time. So first, I will share the good news. I've never knitted color work before, and I'm very happy with how my color work came out. So here are my little ice cream cones. They go all the way around the cuff, and I'm using this cotton yarn that I just got. I'm in the US. I got it from Michael's, from Premier Yarns. It is 52% cotton. It was on sale for Black Friday here, and I've never made socks before, so I figured it was good to just get an easy to knit with yarn. And also, I live somewhere where it's very warm most of the year, so socks that are a wool that are very thick and warm just aren't needed here, which is kind of stinky. Like, I feel like the fun part of knitted yarns or knitted socks is that they're so warm and cozy, and here you just don't really need that. But it's kind of nice because this was cheap. It's very easy to knit with, and they had a lot of fun colors. So I would recommend this if you're trying to learn to knit socks or anything else you need a fingering weight for, because it's soft, it's cozy, it's cheap. So that is the good thing. The yarn is great. The little ice cream cones came out great. I am super happy with them. And the other good thing is that despite the fact that I made a mistake, the project will go on and I'll be happy with it. The things that I did wrong. First of all, in the book, she advises that when you get to the colorwork section, so after you finish the ribbing in the cuff here, you switch to bigger needles. But I was at the airport when I finished the ribbing, and I wanted to keep going because I was excited, so I didn't do that because I only had these needles with me. And switching to bigger needles would make the colorwork a little bit stretchier and just a little bit bigger, and that may have allowed them to fit over my heel. But I did not switch to bigger needles, and so trying to put these on, they don't fit over my heel. And I think they would have fit around my ankle really well, so I think the sizing was right in that sense. But there's no stretch here in the colorwork at all, and so I can't get it over my heel. So the first issue is that I should have gone up a needle size, and I actually think in the future I might go up 2 needle sizes. I fear that one would not be enough. I do knit pretty tight. I didn't gauge these, which maybe was another error that I should have done that step and I skipped it. But I do knit pretty tight, so I'm almost thinking about going up 2 needle sizes when I make socks again, just to make sure that they fit. And honestly, if they're too big on the ankle, then that's okay. They'll be a little bit loose. They'll still be cozy. So that is the first error that I made. The second one, which she talks about in the book and is just kind of a flaw with color work in general, this is like a thing that a lot of people experience, is that you have floats when you knit color work. So when you switch from like purple to pink in this pattern, for example, you just hold the other color that you're not using behind. So like, let's see. So when you have the cone here, when you're working on the cone, the purple color of the background is just like right behind the cone. And that is so you don't have to cut the yarn and then reattach it every time, because that would be crazy. However, because the floats are just a string of yarn and they're not a knit, they don't have any stretch. Like, it's just a string. It's just like if you picked up your string like this and you tried to stretch it, it's not going anywhere. And the stretch in your fabric comes from the actual knitting that you're doing. So you have to leave the floats very loose in the back, which is a little bit scary because it looks like they would get caught up. Otherwise, they're not going to fit. They're not going to stretch, which I think I did an okay job with. I was trying to be very conscious of it. My loops are pretty loose. I don't think that I pulled them too tight, but in the future, to be safe, I'll leave them a little bit looser. This is what mine look like. I hope you can see that. Yeah, they're not super tight. And similarly, when your loops or their floats, when your floats are kind of long, people will advise you to, it's called catch your float, and it's basically like attach it to the back of the sock. So instead of a big loop like that, it'll be like 2 smaller loops. And in this book, she advises you not to do that, which most people would do that, but because you want so much stretch in a sock, she says not to, so I didn't. So I think next time I would leave the loops bigger. However, I don't think that that is why mine don't fit, because I think I did an okay job with that. So I'm hoping that if I go up in needle size next time, probably 2 needle sizes, that will help. The other thing is that they look like they would fit. Like, it's pretty wide here. And look, it would fit around my ankle if I can get it over my heel. So it's just the stretch factor that needs to be improved in the future. So I'm going to try them again with bigger needles and a different pattern from the book after I finish what I have now created with this project. And I like to gift knit. I was excited to make socks for someone else after I did these, but because these weren't successful, I don't think I could do that yet because I want to make sure that they will fit. So I think I'm gonna have to make some for myself again so that I can try them on throughout the process and make sure that they're going to fit. So that kind of stinks too, because I was excited. I have a few patterns in here that really remind me of people in my life that I was excited to make for them, but I can't do that just yet. This is another thing I really like about this book. If you scroll through it, or like flip through it, there's definitely gonna be patterns where you're like, oh, this reminds me a lot of this person. I think they'd really like them. And I really like that about the book. It makes me excited to start new projects. I'm like, oh, this person is gonna love this, and so I'm excited to make it. So that's cool. So part 2 of this video is what my next steps are. I was worried I would have to frog the whole thing. I would have to take it all apart because they don't fit. But I am now making them into mittens. So like I said, I live in Miami, and it's December right now, and it's like 75 degrees and sunny, and this is the coldest it's gonna get. So I don't need mittens here. But I'm originally from New York, and I like to visit there a lot because my family is there. So I'm hoping I can get these done before the holidays so I can wear them when I go back to New York. So this is my progress so far. This is the little thumb hole, and then this is the hand. And my plan is to make them like fingerless gloves, and then the little button-on attachment that goes over the top as mittens. So let me try them on. I'll show you guys. Because despite the fact that they're not socks, I am still pretty excited about them. And they fit really well as little mittens, which is exciting. And this is a pretty easy project to switch to if you make a mistake on your socks. So I will share with you guys how I am doing that. First, here is my mitten. Here are my little, oh, it's kind of hard to show. I'll show you upside down, but I hope you can still tell that these are my ice cream cones on my wrist. And then I did a little bit of a fade up here from this background main color to the cone color over here. I just thought it would look fun, make them a little bit more exciting. And then a little flip that goes over, so I'll probably sew it on the inside, and then I'll put a button here so you can like close it and make them cozy and warm. Will probably also be this color, which is also the cone. So this is how they look. They fit perfectly as little mittens. I'm very happy with how they look in this way. And I have kind of been winging it on how to figure it out, but there's also a free pattern from Well Loved Knits, and I really like her YouTube. She just had a baby, so she hasn't been posting a lot, but I really like her YouTube, and she has a free fingerless glove pattern, so I'll make sure to link that in the description if you want to try it out. And so that's what I've been using. Also, Charlotte Stone, the woman who wrote this book, also has mitten patterns in her Ravelry. So I can link those below too. But that's also really nice about this book, is that the color work can be used on tons of different projects. So you don't just have to use them for socks. You can put little ice cream cones on anything you want to make. And now I have the pattern for that, which is cool. So these are my little mittens so far. Here's my little thumb hole. And I am excited about them despite the fact that they're not what I was going for. So after I finish these, I will update you guys on how knitting my mittens went, and hopefully it will be a success. There are a few little fears that I have, like when I put them on, I should have shown you guys when they were on, but they're right here. The tension's a little wonky right between these two rows, and when I put them on, you can see the floats a little bit behind, which kind of stinks. And I'm not entirely sure how to fix that, but I'm hoping I can figure it out. I think that happened when I started breaking off for the thumb, because it's kind of in line with where I broke off. When you put them on, it just gets a little bit stretched out, which isn't the end of the world. They're still cute, still cozy. It's not gonna like make them fall apart. But I am hoping that I can fix it somehow. Also, when I block them, I hope that it kind of evens out. The color work looks, I think, great. I'm a little biased. I think the color work looks great, but hopefully it'll even out a little bit when I block them as well. So I will update you guys whenever I do that. Hopefully in the next like week or two, I'll be completely done with the mittens and I can update you guys. And then we will go back to figuring out socks, because I still want to make them. I'm excited. Now I have to find a new pattern to make myself, because my next patterns were going to be gifts. But, well, you know what, maybe. There is a pair I was going to make my sister. I'll show you which ones. And we have the same size foot. So maybe I'll try those next. So these are the ones I was making myself. I think I showed you the ice creams. And I'm actually knitting something else for my sister right now. So maybe I'll try to make for someone else, because otherwise she'd get 2 gifts in a row. But these ones reminded me a lot of her. They're super cute. They're called the coffee break socks. And they look like that. They have little coffee cups, and they just seem so cozy and nice. And I am not a coffee drinker at all, but she is. So I think she'd like those. But that is it for now. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I have some better sock related news in the next one. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching. Bye!